Welcome back to BBC News. Let's return to that breaking news of the last few minutes. The former director of the FBI, James Comey, has just pleaded not guilty on his first appearance in court in connection with federal charges that he lied to Congress back in 2020. He's accused of lying to a Senate committee about whether he authorised a leak of classified information to the media. As I say, that plea has just come in the courthouse. So let's go to our correspondent who is there, Nomia Iqbal. And Nomia, just set the scene for people who are just joining the programme, because this is a big deal, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, the hearing itself didn't last for very long, but the impact of what's happening today is very far-reaching. James Comey, the former director of the FBI, being here in court is essentially a culmination of an effort by President Trump to go after him. It was pretty alarming, the sequence of events, certainly alarming for Democrats in terms of how we got here. Mr. Trump publicly calling for his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, who heads up the Justice Department, very loyal to Donald Trump, to go after Mr. Comey. Donald Trump has long disliked Mr. Comey. He was appointed by Barack Obama, but fired by Donald Trump in 2016, shortly after he came into office, because Mr. Comey had instigated that investigation looking at potential ties between Russia and Donald Trump's presidential campaign. No criminal conspiracy was ever found, but Mr. Trump has never forgiven James Comey for it. And now we are here where James Comey has had these charges laid out to him, as you outlined there. I should mention Donald Trump publicly pressured also the prosecutor here to bring those charges. He was then fired, according to Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump then installed his personal lawyer, who has very little, if zero, experience in prosecution. So all that sequence of events leading to this moment has alarmed legal experts and Democrats, as I say. Now, Mr. Comey came into the courtroom around about 9:41 a.m. my time. He was in good spirits. He was making light jokes with his team. He said that he understood the charges and he pleaded not guilty and asked for a jury trial. So they could have asked to dismiss the charges. They didn't, and the judge is not going to really dismiss the charges now that they've asked for a trial. They've asked for a speedy trial that could potentially happen at the end of this year or next year. And I just want to point out, Matthew, Mr. Comey could come out. There is a lectern here. There's a big media scrum, as you can imagine. There's a lot of protesters, I should say, against Donald Trump. They've accused him of weaponizing the Justice Department. There is more of us than the protesters, I should add. But there is a lectern here where Mr. Comey could come out and address the media, but he may also choose to not do that and put out a social media video, which he did in response to the indictment.
Nom, you're absolutely right, because James Comey spoke to Newsnight only recently, where he was anticipating a move like this, so it won't shock him. But people have made the observation that he is a dangerous man to actually take on, because he likes the limelight, he knows the law inside out, and he is determined to actually show that he's not scared of Donald Trump, because the worry certainly is that Donald Trump is going after his political opponents and who may be next. And only, a couple of hours ago, the president posting on social media that in terms of the deployment of the National Guard, that other story that, of course, is getting a lot of headlines, he wants to see Chicago's mayor and Illinois' governor both jailed. So it gives you just a sense of what is going on there in the States.
It really does. And it's so much bigger than just, as I say, a very brief hearing here. It matters so much. And on the point of taking on Mr. Comey and Mr. Comey wanting to take Mr. Trump on, Donald Trump has often referred to James Comey, to quote him, as a showboater who loves the limelight. So it is very much seems to be the case that Mr. Comey wants to have his day in court. In reference to the threats that Donald Trump has made today, yes, Governor Pritzker has actually responded. Let me just read to you what he said. He said, "I will not back down. Trump is now calling for the arrest of elected representatives, checking his power. What else is left on the path to full-blown authoritarianism?" Now, if you remember, Matthew, Mr. Trump had long deplored President Joe Biden of weaponizing the Department of Justice to go after him, those endless prosecutions and investigations. And so now Donald Trump is being accused of doing the same thing. However, his supporters say, well, at least he's being transparent about it, which is slightly changing the goalposts. But it is alarming, nonetheless, if he is being transparent about it. Also, I should add, there was never any evidence that President Biden was pressuring his Department of Justice to prosecute Donald Trump. He certainly didn't do it publicly. He appointed a special prosecutor, an independent prosecutor, to bring those indictments to do with mishandling classified information, January the 6th, and also the alleged interference into the election results in Georgia in 2020. But Donald Trump rejects this accusation that he's misusing his authority. His Attorney General Pam Bondi, at a congressional hearing yesterday, said that Mr. Comey was indicted by one of the most liberal juries we are in the District of Columbia, in Alexandria, I should add more specifically. But also grand juries, I should add, they are made up of, about 23 people. They focus on preliminary criminal matters, and they only look at the evidence presented by the prosecutor, not any defense lawyers. So they have to work out whether there's probable cause, which is a much lower bar than you need to actually convict somebody. Yes. If Mr. Comey is convicted after this trial, he could face up to 5 years in jail. And just to quickly finish off as well, Matthew, usually a mugshot is not released, but I would be very shocked if the Justice Department doesn't release a mugshot of James Comey today.
Nomia, thanks very much for taking us through all of that. Of course, if James Comey arrives at the microphones, we will obviously return there. Thanks so much, though, for now. Now here, the leader of the Conservative Party has pledged to axe stamp duty, the tax someone pays when purchasing a home, if they win the next election. Kemi Badenoch was speaking at the close of the Tory conference in Manchester as she defended the record of her party's 14 years in power and sought to win over those questioning her leadership credentials. Georgia Roberts has this report.